Well, welcome along to this Brands and Sponsorship Summit as part of the ISC Virtual Week. And I'm delighted to say that we're being joined by Pancho Cassis, who's an expert in branding. And Pancho was chosen by Adweek as one of the most creative people in the world in 2018. He's the Global Chief Creative Officer of David. And during his career, he's led on work for some very popular brands like Burger King. We'll be hearing more about that in a moment. Magnum, Budweiser, Scrabble, also he's worked with, and he's created the most talked about campaign during the last World Cup, the last FIFA World Cup in Russia, the Hidden Flag campaign. He most recently was named Creative of the Year in the Latin American sector by El Ojo de Iberoamerica, and he's a member of Ogilvy's Creative Council. Pancho, that's a very impressive CV. Welcome along. Thanks for joining us. We've got lots of questions for you about this incredible tie-up that you've had between Burger King and a football club that not many people might know. But before we talk about that in depth, let's have a look at this short video that tells the story.
Confused? Let me take you back a few steps. You haven't heard of Stevenage Football Club, right? Well, neither had we. But we realized that even though they're at the bottom of England's 4th division, they were going to appear in the same video game that all the expensive players were going to be in. And that's when, almost 2 years ago, we decided to sponsor Stevenage. Because if we put our logo on their real shirt, we would definitely have our logo in the game. Introducing the Stevenage Challenge. Gamers across the world immediately started choosing Stevenage, signing the best players to our team and playing with them. For every goal they shared on Twitter, we gave them rewards. The news took the gaming community by storm.
One of the best gifts in the game, the Stevenage, they have Burger King as their sponsor.
Oh, Lawrence! Oh my God!
Football food, what could possibly be better?
Il est trop beau, les gars, vite!
Just like that, our small team in real life turned into the biggest team online. And the best players in the world were playing for Burger King.
It's not every night this comes on.
Sports. It's in the flame.
Pancho, fascinating story. Not really sure where to start, but I suppose a good point would be to ask how you persuaded a global giant like Burger King to go with this.
I don't know. I think that we're lucky enough to have a partner like Burger King. You know, they jump into all of these crazy ideas. This one really, demanded from us a lot of patience because it needed to be done in several stages. But they loved the way we were going to try to tap into pop culture and into the gaming industry with something as crazy as sponsoring the team at the bottom of League Two, which is actually the 4th division in England. So I think they loved it from the beginning because they knew that it could only go well, right? Just the way, just the fact of sponsoring them was interesting, and we had we had different waves of PR and buzz around the campaign, but just the logo was a huge thing. Then the challenge and people playing video games. So yeah, it was a long journey, but they jumped in from the beginning.
Obviously, major corporates, they like to be associated with success, don't they? So just the very concept of being associated with a team who, by finishing bottom of the league structure, by definition, had actually failed. Was that a difficulty for them at all?
No, because I think that the way we focus on sponsorships is, not sponsoring a brand, not sponsoring a name, not sponsoring, an event, sponsoring, the values. And when we discovered Stevenage and the whole spirit around and the vibe around the team and the neighborhood, and this underdog thing, which is very much how we see ourselves, in the industry. Burger King is competing against giants, and we always try to find a way to win. And we thought that there was something interesting, many ways, and we talk about it a lot. Many times, brands just put the money on another brand they want to associate with, and just assuming people will do the connection. And it doesn't work like that. We truly believe that people will do better connections when there's something they can identify with, when there's let's say there's a hero, which is this underdog, and there's the rest of the world, which is the enemy, and being on the bottom of the league. I don't know. We see a lot every day. We see in advertising a lot of partnerships that they don't make sense, right? Starting with famous people, sportsmen, multimillionaires, trying to sell you an insurance for the car. We know they don't have insurance for the car. We know that they don't have those types of car. And even if they crash the car, they go and buy another one. They're not calling the insurance company. So that's, and I think that people kind of realize that. So we knew that sponsoring Stevenage would be, great for both.
And in terms of the evaluation process that you must go through with all of your partnerships and sponsorship arrangements for clients, there's normally something that's already been done before that you can test success against, perhaps, or how it might work or how it might not work. This was totally left field, as they say, wasn't it? This was totally from the creative brain that you have. How did you go about sort of evaluating the impact it might have for Burger King? How did you persuade them, if you like, that this was something that would absolutely deliver results for them?
We didn't, and I think that that's the beauty of the relationship, right? We said, guys, we have this idea, we think it can work, but we don't know. This is not science. In a way, communications is not science. We knew that let's say the investment versus the risk and the potential win, it was big, but we didn't know, honestly, if it was going to work. But Burger King saw an opportunity to try something different. I think that it's and that's why I think that the relationship between David, the agency, and Burger King has been so successful in the last 7 years. It's because we both know that there's not a formula for it, and we always try to do something that no one has ever done before. I think that what we're doing now with the Stevenage female team, it's also interesting. We can talk about it later, but in general, we said, hey, this is a first. So we need to treat it as a first. We need to bet on it, and we need to be ready to fail. And if we fail, we just move forward fast, and that's it, and try a new one. But you could see from the beginning that there were a lot of elements that could actually connect with people, with fans, and with gamers, right?
And fan engagement is something we've been talking about a lot this week already, but this is absolutely in the right sector for engaging with the fan base at Stevenage. Isn't very big, but the worldwide global interest in gaming, as you say, absolutely connects your clients with fans around the world.
Yeah, totally. And yes, the Stevenage fan base wasn't that big. The Burger King was a little bit bigger, but the gaming community was huge. And the fact that a big brand was sponsoring, again, a small team, the underdog, would make everyone, look. If we put the Burger King logo on PSG or Real Madrid, which is my team, it wouldn't go that noticed, right? I think that the potential here was huge, and we knew that people would stay on our side in a way, right? And it was fantastic to see the reaction from people. Well, the shirts sold out, and it was really it gave us goosebumps, to see some tweets from the club saying, "Hey, first time we're shipping a shirt outside the UK, and they were shipping to Argentina, Japan, Paraguay. You know, it's crazy.
It's incredible.
So yeah.
I suppose, would it be fair to say you probably had to go on Google Earth to see where Stevenage actually actually was? And what was the reaction of the club themselves when they sort of got this email in their inbox from yourselves saying we'd like to pair you up with Burger King? I mean, I wonder what their reaction was.
Yeah, and it's a pity we cannot have Alex here, but it was surprising. And honestly, I did it myself. I wrote to Alex because I want to make sure that we tap on every possible contact and we could make this happen. And he was surprised, but he said, "Yeah, let's jump into a call." Then I called him. He asked if this was real. It was real. And we start talking from there, right? It was a long process. It was 2018 when we started talking, because first we needed the shirt to have the logo, for then the shirt to appear in the newest version of the game, right? And in that sense, I don't know, I feel that it was a surprise for Alex and his team, but then they knew it was real, and we just start moving forward, right? And in the moment we launched the sponsorship, which was almost a year before we launched the actual campaign, people went crazy. Many people. The away team, if you can look for it at Google, you can see that the away team from last season was very much like ketchup and mustard. It was crazy. And people start thinking, oh, here it comes, Burger King doing a shitty shirt, ugly shirt with ketchup and mustard. Some people loved it. And the funny thing is that the shirt, of course, was done before we jumped in. So that was another funny thing that happened with Alex. But in general, Andrew, I think that the lesson here is, how can we do sponsorships where people play a role, right? Where we can actually give something to people, we can entertain them. Many times we forget that people don't care about advertising. And it's weird that we say, because we work on this, we work on communication ourselves. David, we're an advertising agency, but we start from the point that people don't want to see ads. They don't care about ads. They care about stories. They care about entertainment. They care about something funny. They care about us, making their day better with a great promo, but they care about something real happening in their lives. And the fact that we did this whole thing and they could play with it, and they could get, in the shoes of the underdog, and actually, jump into this whole trend of playing with the smallest team in England and making it big online. It was something that people connected immediately.
Normally, brands, when they go into sport, are looking to leverage the fans, the consumers, indeed, that will come to them through that sport, won't they? This was totally a different dynamic. You were sort of the actual sort of usage or the consumerism was going to come from the Burger King side of things, wasn't it? Stevenage were just the way of getting to that, I suppose. Have other people been to you since to say, we'd like to follow your example, or other people trying to turn things on their head, if you like, and have it so that they follow your example? There must have been a lot of interest in the industry.
Yeah, and it's been, from the general sports industry, we've been contacted by tennis federations, by big football clubs. Actually, now we're working in Spain with our office in Spain is working with Real Valladolid, which is Ronaldo's club in Spain. It's in the middle of the league, but it's aiming to be, a big player in the country. So that's great. I think that how we approach a sponsorship is putting an idea first. And this has been tough because we have rejected a couple of nice kind of brands, trying to, and teams trying to have a Burger King sponsorship, because we couldn't see the potential of an idea. Again, you were saying, teams and brands try to leverage, fan base, how many games the team plays a year, whatever. But if you're trying to connect a big team like Liverpool, Real Madrid, whatever, with a washing machine, you need to have an idea, right? You need to have a reason to do it. You need to give something to people. The same with airlines. I think that airlines are now in a place where they sponsor too many teams. they do a lot of investment, but people don't connect with what the brand stands for and what the brand will do for me, not for Modric, Messi, or Luis Suarez, right? And I think that there's a lot of money put there, into just showing logos to people, and we felt that in this case we were going from small to big, but with something that people could connect to and enjoy.
Just looking at the process for other people that are joining us to watch this and will be in the same industry themselves, from sort of conception of the idea to delivery of the final relationship, roughly how long did it take? Because it seems like it probably came together quite quickly.
It came together quite quickly because the way we work with the client is like that also. We work a lot on WhatsApp, which is crazy. We don't do too much PowerPoints. It's just WhatsApp messages, a couple of images, and then of course we get together, but it's kind of super fast. And in this case, I was with Fernando Machado, who is the global CMO for Burger King. We were in Argentina in another seminar together. We were sitting in the audience, and I remember that one of the teams, Luis, a Colombian guy working in Madrid, had told me the idea the week before. I said, "Hey, Fer, just one thing. I just remember we had this idea," and in that moment he bought it. We went directly to WhatsApp so we could update David's team, but also Fernando's teams at Burger King, like, "Hey, we just talked about this. This is great. Let's try to move forward." And next week I was sending the email to Alex. He was replying, and then we started. I think that in this case, it took a lot of patience because we're used to even do stuff even faster. But because this was a very a campaign that needed a couple of previous stages, it demanded a little bit of more patience, but it was fast in a way.
What's been the reaction in the gaming world, not being specific around particular games, but just generally? Because the market globally, I imagine, not just around soccer, but around American sports in particular, I'd imagine that the market in the gaming industry is massive. And in terms of this as an idea, is it the kind of things that perhaps the people that produce the games, will they be a bit wary that it might sort of come in on a grand scale? Do you see lots of other people following this now, or is it just a one-off that really now you've done it can't really be repeated because you've already got the maximum benefit from it?
No, I think that it can be repeated, but maybe the lesson here is how we can, listen more and focus more on the gaming community. It's huge. Many of us are also gamers, but there's a huge community, and they really appreciate when you do something entertaining for them, when you do something surprising, when you go on Twitch and you talk directly to them, you launch something, you sponsor them. Actually, after Stevenage, we started sponsoring a team in Spain, Existence, which is a really good team. And we're doing more and more stuff around the gaming community. I think that this is specific hack, of course, is a one-off because you can't repeat it, but the joke is done. I think that people, because we did a 2-year contract, people are still, with the new games playing, actually, which was great. And we couldn't fit in the 1-minute video that we show about the campaign, but there was a lot of people, hacking other games and putting the Stevenage shirt in just to win a Whopper or some French fries, which was great. And I think that people loved it, and now we just need to evolve it and see how we keep surprising people and making stuff that is actually entertaining for them.
How important that sort of Stevenage challenge aspect to it all? How important was that to the as you say, the opportunity for players, gaming players, to win rewards and to obviously use Burger King products? Was that a key part of the program?
I think that it was an important part, but it wasn't the key part, because I think that the whole thing that we know that gamers connected the most was the fact that we put the logo into the smallest team so they could then play with it and make it the biggest team online. I think that was the big aha. And because we did it with a small team, the underdog team, us being in a way the underdog brand, versus our big competitors, McDonald's or the industry, people love that, right? Then of course the rewards are there, and because it was global, the rewards were different from country to country. So it was not like, hey, it's a Whopper for everyone. No, it was different. Sometimes it was a small thing, but people connected very well with the attitude, right? And even, and you can look it up. People were still playing month and months after it. There's a couple of teams that changed their name to whatever. There was a French team, that they were playing for years, and they played that year with Stevenage, just to play along with the joke, and it was great.
Looking at the actual launch of it all, just take yourself back in your own mind. Those first sort of couple of days, 48 hours from the launch of this campaign, what was it like for you? Was it busy? Was it nervous for you? How do you remember feeling when it launched?
Depressed. It was depressing. And there's a reason. This was the first big thing we did with gaming. And I remember we launched on a Thursday, and we all got together in the office. We do that a lot, It's, again, the way we work with clients is that we are an extension of their marketing department, and in a way they're an extension of the agency. So we jumped in all together in the agency. We ordered Burger King to eat, and everyone was like in a war room, ready to reply, to know, to see, blah, blah. And we launched on a Thursday, and actually nothing happened. Nothing happened. We were super depressed. We went out for dinner. We got a couple of drinks, and we said, oh, fuck it. Well, we missed this one. Maybe the next idea will be better. And suddenly, because we didn't realize that it was our first kind of big gaming campaign, Friday came, and Friday afternoon, and people got out of work, out of university, and boom, and it started rolling, right? And suddenly, Saturday night was crazy because we had people in Europe playing, plus all the people in Latin America. They were awake and they were having fun with it, and people in the States, Mexico, and suddenly, boom, it was on, and then we relaxed. Of course, we were not together then, but we sent a couple of congratulating messages also to the Stevenage team, and we started seeing stuff, and then next week they were sending shirts, and it all started, but it starts slow, and I think it's a lesson we learned, right? On the gaming community, stuff doesn't happen as quick as sharing a tweet, right? Especially if you're doing kind of a mechanic where gamers need to play and share, and then it was crazy. People were sharing goals, and I was telling you, month and month after, like, hey, can I get a reward? Even now, like, people were crazy, but it took a little bit to start.
Let's think about the Stevenage aspect of this as well. As you say, they were a club that had their troubles on the pitch, and they've maintained their place in the English Football League, the EFL. So it's obviously done them. It's obviously done them some good as well. From the point of view, we'll touch on a moment in what it meant to the club and their community work. And you mentioned the work that you've been doing with the women's team at Stevenage. But just in terms of the Stevenage area itself, I mean, did it help that there was a restaurant, a Burger King restaurant, 100 meters away from the stadium? I mean, was that a good bonus?
No, I think we didn't see a lot of change into the sales of that specific restaurant, but we saw a lot of love from the community and from the hardcore fans, by the support, right? Because in a way, it was a brand that it was 100 meters away from the stadium. Many people on game days stopped there before and after, and it was, in a way, even though it was a big brand, it was part of the neighborhood. It was someone. It was a neighbor, supporting a neighbor.
And in terms of the work with the club, I mean, a lot of the clubs at that level all over the world, but especially in the UK, they do a lot of work in their communities, working with their fans. You've been supporting the women's team at Stevenage as well. Tell us a bit about that.
No, that's great. That's something we launched 2 days ago, and it's going really well. It's been all over the place, from the BBC to being shared by professional football players and people from the national team and everything. What we did is super simple. We were sponsoring the men's team, and then we realized that we also had a women's team. So we said, let's do it properly. And what we did was sponsor the women's team on the same terms as the men, right? Which is something that doesn't happen, and we know there's a gap. We need this fairness needs to be achieved. And in a way, we said, hey, let's go for it. And then, of course, we did a special shirt, which is the shirt that the team is going to use. We changed the logo from Burger King to Burger Queen, but those are, and we launched a campaign which is we loved it, and we know that fans are loving it. It shows a lot of stuff that Stevenage has to play against. Of course, the rivals, but then the weather, the lack of budget, the blah blah blah. A lot of stuff. And then the concept is, playing for Stevenage FC is hard. Playing for the women's team shouldn't be harder. That's why Burger King now is sponsoring the women's team in the same terms as the men. And people are loving it. I think that it's a good, hopefully it's going to open the door for many other sponsors to do the same, pay equally and do the same terms for both men and women teams.
Must be really satisfying for you, Pancho, as a professional in that world, to know that such a massive global brand, they don't like adapting their logos and their image, do they? And like you say, to go with Burger Queen, it must be a great achievement to know that you'd actually got your clients so on board with this that they were even prepared to do things like changing a very well-known and recognized brand as Burger King and adapting it slightly because of the way your campaign was going.
No, it's great, and it's super. We're super proud of the work. We're super thankful to the client and to the club. We think that hopefully this will, besides the gift, because it's beautiful when you see the men's shirt with Burger King and the women's shirt with Burger Queen. That's a nice visual gimmick. But we really hope that all this conversation, all this buzz goes to the bottom of the subject, which is, hey, there's a brand as big as Burger King that decided to sponsor the women's teams on the same terms as they did with the men. And that should be the norm, right? We shouldn't do a difference there. So hopefully we're super happy. My kid, for example, he's a huge fan. He's 9, but he knows more about football than math. And he's crazy about it. And I think that he shows the feeling that all of the football fans have, right? He loves the shirts, but also the finding finding the team in his favorite video game. It's also something that he said, whoa, and that for us, it's incredible, right? How an idea started from a conversation and ended up in the biggest game of all.
So what's next for you and for the company, David? I mean, innovation is everything, isn't it? Creativity is everything. But I would imagine you're already looking at new projects, and I think you're possibly on the verge of announcing the next big thing soon, aren't you?
Hopefully, yes. We're doing a lot of different things now. We're working with new stuff for Burger King, but also, as I was saying, we're working with Ronaldo and his team in Madrid to push and help Valladolid become a strong team and a strong club, not only in Spain but in Europe. Hopefully we're gonna do well this season. Hopefully in a couple of seasons we can be playing Europe, and we will be working with them on all the ideas that can help grow the love and the fan base. In the end, we at David, we like to say that we're more than an advertising agency. We're a creative company. We help our clients putting creativity and ideas to solve business problems along the journey of their business, right? Not only doing the final ad. And I think that Stevenage is a great example of something that wasn't an ad, but was something bigger.
And do you sense that after COVID, which has been such a difficult time for everybody, but after COVID, the effect on the big global players, the big commercial companies, but the big clubs as well. Everybody is going to be looking for new and exciting ways of communicating with fans and partnering together for the good of both the sponsors and the clubs. I mean, I envisage that it's going to be a very busy time for you with clubs and with corporates looking for your kind of creativity to come up with the next Stevenage.
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully. I think that this has been a really tough year for the sports industry. We've seen it because we work with Budweiser, for example, in the US, and Bud is one of the biggest sponsors of not one but 5 different leagues. You know, from the NFL to the NHL, to baseball, everything. And we've seen how this has impacted. I think that this will help us and will probably help brands realize that when they when they put money on a sponsorship, they need to put something behind, right? An idea, a product, something that people can actually connect with and enjoy, right? Not just logos on a shirt, because that we know that doesn't work as well as putting something, you know.
Pancho, thank you very much indeed for sharing this incredible story. I know lots of people, both people in the world of marketing, football fans, gamers, everybody will be fascinated to join this webinar and hear about it. It's a great story, and thank you very much indeed for telling us all about it. We wish you all the very best for 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for the invitation, and just tell everyone, hope this 2021 is going to be great. Any doubts, I'm on LinkedIn, and then we can talk more. But sponsorship is a very exciting world, and we should put more ideas on it.